After discovering my wife's affair just 3.5 years into our marriage, I vanished without a word, started a new life in the mountains, and thought I'd buried the past, until more than a year later. The ex I ghosted suddenly tracked me down, begging for a second chance, forcing me to confront the wreckage I thought I'd left behind. I slipped away quietly after uncovering my wife's affair 3.5 years into our marriage. About a year later, the ex I'd ghosted managed to find me. When I learned she'd been unfaithful, I packed up and headed for the hills. I'm not exactly sure why I'm writing this, except that maybe someone else might find it useful now that I'm past it. In February 2018, 3.5 years after we married, I discovered the affair. I had a contract role as a director in technical sales, sometimes traveling a lot, other times working from home. She held a great-paying position. Even though the strain grew as her hours stretched longer and my trips stacked up, I still would have called our marriage pretty good. Backstory: 5 years earlier, at a cookout hosted by someone we both knew, I met the woman who became my wife and, later, my ex. We clicked instantly once we started talking. Honestly, being with someone so sharp and beautiful felt like a big win. Somehow my rough-around-the-edges vibe worked for her. After a few weeks together, we were hooked. When we'd meet at each other's apartments, clothes practically flew. We married after 18 months and moved into a big apartment while saving for a house. Then after our third year, the tone shifted. I still loved her, but she started picking fights over small things. If I mentioned the late nights and constant work events, she got furious. She was moving up, she'd say, and this was paying dues. Since I had travel weeks too, she told me I had no room to complain. Truth was, I was only away for 3 to 4 days every 5 weeks, and I said I could cut that back. Those circular fights never went anywhere. In hindsight, I didn't realize she was cheating. Other than a dwindling sex life and all those late evenings, nothing obvious screamed affair. I chalked it up to exhaustion from work, but the constant rejection whenever I tried to initiate intimacy wore down my confidence. She had a separate work phone and could have used that, but I didn't see the classic secret texting I'd read about. She used our spare room as a home office and spent hours in there. Around September 2017, Kathy started coming home only to head right back out for work functions. That went from once a week to 3 or more. I'm not a jealous guy by nature, but I knew she'd draw attention and have to bat away guys. She worked with more male execs than female, yet always seemed locked in on the job. The first real jolt of suspicion came about a month before D-Day. She stopped by the grocery store before coming home and asked me to grab some bags from the back seat. Something pink glinted under the front passenger seat. It was one of her bras from a brand she loved, so I knew it was hers. In hindsight, that bra was a flare. She always pulled off her bra first under her clothes when she was feeling extra frisky. I don't know why, but seeing it made me instantly nauseous. Why was it under the seat? I didn't say anything. My heart pounded so hard I felt faint. When I walked back in with the bags, Kathy asked if I was okay, said I looked like I'd seen a ghost. I brushed it off. It took everything I had to hide my reaction. That night and the next day, I tried to piece together any clues I'd missed. Beyond the bra, I had nothing. She worked downtown. We lived in a big city. I pushed the affair idea aside and decided to lean in with more attention. One Friday, I cooked a nice dinner, set out the good plates, silverware, candles, grabbed flowers, and a great bottle of wine. She breezed in, saw it all, apologized, and said she had to run to a neighborhood spot to meet coworkers. She offered to shower first, have a quick bite, then go. I went silent. My stomach flipped. The anger choked me. While she showered, I tossed my work phone into her back seat. I'd planned to use my personal phone to track it. Then, I dumped the food and flowers in the trash. She came out looking gorgeous, as always. "Let's eat," she said. "Never mind. Go out with your friends," I muttered. She eyed me. "Are you mad?" "I'm just sad you never want to do anything with me," I said. She got snarky, called me short-fused, told me to quit acting childish. I whispered, "Foolish me," as everything sank in. For once, I'd hoped we could spend an evening together. She gave a sly smile and left. As soon as she drove off, I pulled up my second phone and started tracking my work phone. It stopped at the bar she frequented with coworkers. I drove over, found her car, and waited across the street, feeling creepy but forcing myself to stay calm. About an hour later, she came out with a man who looked like a company executive. He pulled her in and kissed her. I went numb. My stomach clenched. They got into another car and left together. I tailed them to a hotel 10 minutes away and watched them walk in, holding hands. That was enough. I felt stupid, hammered the steering wheel, and went blank inside. When I could think again, I wanted a drink. Life took a turn I never imagined. I drove out of town, replaying everything, crying with rage. I ended up at a little tavern 30 miles away. The bartender, a woman, said I looked like the wind had been knocked out of my sails. You could say that. I half smiled. A guy sat down beside me and started chatting. I didn't want to talk, but something about him was steadying. Eventually, I mentioned my wife's infidelity, said I just wanted to run and forget. You're not alone, buddy, he said, patting my back. Been there. These things happen for a reason. From here, life can go up or down, it's up to you. His words shook me out of the fog. Pain or not, I tend to think logically.
He was right.
We introduced ourselves. Ree was his name. I liked his salt-of-the-earth vibe. More country than me. You moving out? He asked. I don't know. I hadn't thought that far. I said, stuck in fight or flight and wanting to get away from her. I've got an idea, Ree said. I've got a mobile trailer on some land. Needs a little work, nothing fancy. Come take a look. Maybe you could stay there a bit. I'll give you a great deal. Park it on a nice patch I own. You'd be doing me a favor watching over the place. Might help you get clear of this mess. I sat with it. The bartender chimed in. If I could have run from my crazy ex-husband back then, I'd have taken any trailer to clear my head. It felt surreal, like stepping into the Twilight Zone, but maybe it was what I needed. I'll think about it and maybe come see it, I told Ree. We exchanged details and agreed I'd visit in a few days. For the first time that night, I felt some hope, an exit from a nightmare. One thing I knew, I didn't want another minute with my wife. Cheating disgusted me. It was the one line I swore I'd never accept. When I got home, Kathy came out and asked where I'd been. I asked her the same. You know I went for drinks, she said. Are you seeing someone? I asked directly. She looked shocked, then recovered.
No.
Why would you ask that? I told her I'd heard she might be involved with someone at work.
Who told you? She demanded.
Someone I know, I answered, refusing to name anyone. She called me ridiculous, said I was drunk and crazy, and wanted to know where I'd been. Out with friends, I said. We had a few drinks. She clearly wanted to press harder, but retreated to bed. I slept on the couch, unable to close my eyes. I kept seeing her with that guy. I felt sick and hurt, then remembered Ree's trailer. That thought lifted me. Something was wired into me, fight or flight, and I chose flight. The next morning, we barely spoke and drifted through the weekend like nothing happened. A few days later, I visited Ree. He had a beautiful ranch, and the trailer was better than expected, about 26 feet, fully furnished. It reminded me of a fun college spring break. I paid him what he asked, honestly felt like I was getting a steal. Then we drove out to his land. There were trails nearby, trees and scrub everywhere, foothills leading to mountains. On a hill, he had a small cabin. There was power and water hookups for the trailer. Reese said he'd haul it over and set it up. Over the next few weeks, I kept trying to get Kathy to tell the truth, but all I got was gaslighting. I even told her flat out, if I catch you cheating, there's no going back. She only dug deeper into the fog and lashed out with denials so bad I almost laughed. I kicked myself for not snapping pictures that night. No hard proof. I was done torturing myself. Instead of dumping my feelings on her, I started planning my exit. While she worked, I quietly moved my stuff to the trailer. That alone gave me a sense of control. During that stretch, Kathy turned nicer, but for me it was too late. She kept going on outings. One evening as she left, I got ready too. Where are you going? She asked. Meeting friends, I said. You wouldn't like the shop talk and you don't know them. She used that exact line on me whenever I wanted to join her office gatherings. Okay. Have fun, she said, clearly miffed. I will, I replied. I settled into trailer projects and spent time at Ree's bar, meeting his family and friends. It helped more than drinking ever could, and I pulled back on alcohol. I didn't want to build bad habits. Then Kathy said she had a work trip the next week with the executive team and some department heads. Have a great time with your boyfriend. I shot back, immediately regretting it as it sparked an ugly fight. Ree reminded me it didn't matter who AP was. It's not about him, he told me. She stepped out. That's the fact. She torched the marriage, whether she admits it or not. Her trip gave me the perfect window to leave for good. While she was gone, I took only what was mine: clothes, laptops, equipment. No shared items or furniture. I left a note. At first it was long, then I kept it simple. I hope it was worth it. I set my wedding ring on top and walked out. The weight lifted. Freedom. I knew the pain would take time and baggage would linger, but I'd begun. I didn't yell, demand a confession, or stage a scene. She didn't deserve that energy. She'd tossed aside our plans: house, family, the future. There was no going back. I owed her nothing. She could live with her choices. I hadn't lined up lawyers or a game plan. I just needed clarity and a clean start. The mountain air did me good. Back in the trailer, I started running again. It felt amazing to be alive. While she was away, Kathy texted. We just landed. Team dinner tonight. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? When she got home and couldn't reach me, the calls and texts piled up. Her mom tried calling too. I ignored everything. A week of silence later, her messages turned urgent. What is this? We need to talk. I don't know what you think you know, but there's nothing going on. Then came the confession, sort of. I'm sorry. Things got out of hand. It didn't matter that I was involved with someone at work. You were gone a lot. I was buried in my job. I made a mistake. I was going to end it. Hearing that did nothing but harden me. Why couldn't she be straight? An error doesn't drag on for months. Her begging shifted from tearful to nasty. You're a coward. You won't even talk. Come home so we can fix this. Where are you? Please, let's make it right. I don't remember every line, but it was all excuses with almost no real remorse. I let them pass right through me. After a while, I changed my number. Update, June 2018. I got an email from Kathy saying she'd hired a lawyer and was filing for divorce. I replied, okay, sounds good. Then came a flood of emails pushing me to meet. She said if I agreed to an uncontested divorce, she'd stop. Once I accepted, I was finally free. We were both out of the apartment, and I never had to see her again. She seemed to care about closure more than I did. Some memories hit me now and then for a few months, like hearing our old songs, but eventually she stopped crossing my mind. Second update. Now that the divorce is final, life's been solid. I met a great woman down the hill. We met on the trail after I helped her change a flat. She's a bit younger, really sweet and cute. She calls me her mountain man and loves my simple setup. I'm not rushing into anything, but I'm not swearing off women either. I'm keeping the trailer for now. Simplifying made everything easier, even grieving my ex. I know everyone deals with this differently. I was lucky, no kids, only 3 years married. I did what was best for me. You don't have to stay with a cheater. If you're going through it, don't overthink. Keep living, keep improving. It gets better. Wishing everyone the best. I've revised this several times to make it readable and wanted to share an update on my ex. I worried she might try to find me. I'd moved about 2 hours away. Last weekend, I saw her at a coffee shop near my place. Didn't feel like a coincidence. I slipped out before she noticed. Third update. This past weekend, I went into town for groceries and stopped at my usual coffee spot, using the Wi-Fi to do some paperwork. When I stepped out heading to my truck, I heard, Paul. Across the street, Kathy.
She waved.
So this was it. She hurried over, and I froze. She reached as if to hug me, but I put my hands out, palms up, stopping her. She looked wrecked. I've been looking for you, she said. I knew you moved here. Can we talk? I felt cornered.
Fine, I said.
Let's find a place to sit for a minute. When she asked to come to my place, I refused. We found a bench down the street. She started with compliments, my beard, my fitness, laying it on thick. Tank top, white shorts, hair in a ponytail like I used to love. She was working the charm, and I knew it. I kept my guard up. She apologized for the affair. Said karma hit hard after I left. Work got tense when her boss learned about it, and she eventually resigned. Her AP, engaged at the time, caught heat and got moved to another department. She told his fiancé the truth after he pinned everything on her, and they broke up. She lowered her head and cried. I stayed quiet, eyes scanning the street. After a bit, I asked, "What do you want?" She said she hadn't planned to cheat. Office politics, ambition, and AP's influence pulled her in. She admitted she used him as much as he used her. After I confronted her, she wanted to confess, but drank after work to numb the guilt. She said she hated herself, felt stupid and alone. Her heart smashed the moment I left. She ended it with AP right after I disappeared. She'd been trying to find me ever since, hoping for a reset, even though we were divorced. She wanted a fresh start. I looked her in the eyes and let it out. You don't get to show up and erase what you did. You think I'll forget how you wrecked us? I told you there was no coming back from cheating. We are not restarting. You killed it when you stepped out. Do you think I'm a fool? I watched you walk into a hotel with him.
Did you know that?
People were starting to look. My voice had risen. She grabbed my arm and sobbed. I let her cry on my shoulder for a moment, then gently pushed her away. I deserve this, she said. I know I do. If nothing else, will you let me take you to dinner? Or just talk? She begged me to spend more time, to be transparent, said she loved me, that she hadn't realized how much until I left. You broke me as much as I broke you. I can't forgive myself, she said, shaking, near hyperventilating. I lifted her up and hugged her to calm her down. In that moment, I realized I'd shattered her world the way she'd shattered mine. We walked to a quieter spot. How'd you find me? I asked once she'd calmed. Did you hire a PI?
She thought for a second, then laughed.
No PI. She'd run into Stacy a few weeks back, asked how I was. Stacy didn't say much. She knew I'd warned her not to tell, but Kathy pushed, and Stacy eventually admitted I lived nearby and spent time in town on days off. So Kathy started lurking around, hoping to bump into me. I shook my head, figures. We ended up having dinner at a little patio place. No drinks. I wasn't giving her an excuse or a reason to linger. We actually had a decent talk. Back at her car, she insisted she hadn't dated anyone since I left, swore I was it, and pressed me to hang out longer. No, I said. Too soon. She pleaded for me to come back. I gave her my new email, but not my number. You'd blow it up, I said. She cried but accepted it. She promised to email me her next trip out here. Before she got in, I asked, if I'd been the one who cheated, would you have forgiven me? She paused. Yes, over time. With counseling, honest work, maybe even a formal agreement, she said. Okay, I answered. Maybe in 5 or 10 years. I'd wait that long if I had to, she replied. She took my hands, stared into my eyes, and said, God damn it, Paul, I will always love you. I'll do anything to prove it. That shook me. Her words echoed in my head long after she drove off. Still, I couldn't see us getting back together. I felt lighter after talking, but I couldn't even picture a friendship yet. Maybe someday. Maybe not. I went home, ran, had a beer, and thought about how far I'd come. Would she ruin the peace I'd worked so hard to build? I didn't know. Time would tell. The memories were still too vivid. Final update. When I first posted this on Reddit, mods kept taking it down. Here's the short version of where it landed. I ghosted my ex for over a year. She eventually tracked me down and wanted a second chance. If you expected me to be the typical guy who forgives on cue, you'll be disappointed. She sent a long email apologizing, asking to stay the weekend and try again. I didn't respond for a while, then finally told her no. I'm happy on my own, quiet, remote, simple. I'm 32, not rushing anything. I'm building my own life and have enjoyed the company of a few friends and a couple of women. I made it clear there's no reconciliation and refused to share my phone number. I don't know or trust you anymore. You made your bed, I wrote. I wish you well. Maybe we can be friends someday, but not now. She didn't like the distance and replied with a telling note. She'd accepted a job in another state. Her real goal was to get me to move with her since my work is remote. She wanted us to start fresh somewhere new, and she pushed to meet because her time here is running out. Luckily for me, I had a week of business travel and dodged the sales pitch. I'm grateful she'll be out of my orbit. She'll figure out soon enough that we're done, but I expect a few more emails before it fades. She'll find someone else. Maybe she'll even do the same thing to them. If you're reading this, live your life. Drop the past. Give yourself permission to move forward. Wishing you all the best. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and tap the notification bell so you don't miss more real stories from everyday life.